it's great to have your company. Now, this week we got a serious reminder of the dangers of social media after a scammer was sentenced to nearly 3 years in jail for convincing strangers she was soap star Lincoln Lewis.
My first reaction is, how could you think that? How could you think that we're dating when we haven't seen each other in years? And then she kept saying to me, Link, what do I do? Like, many times. It kills your vibe, it ruins your day, it makes you feel powerless, and it makes you feel... It just takes away your happiness, because now I've got this constant thought in my mind that something's happening that I'm powerless to stop or even find out.
Yeah, I mean, that's how Lincoln Lewis himself found out about it. He was the one being impersonated. For the people on the other end, it must have been even more frightening. So joining us now is social media and cyber safety expert Yasmin London. Welcome to you. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you. Hi.
This case is pretty extreme. The women targeted had either knew Lincoln in the past or had met him previously, and then they get a message out of the blue and they feel like they're in a relationship with him. What did you make of this specific case?
Yeah, look, this is a pretty extreme example of what can really go wrong, but I suppose it's something that we need to start thinking about more consciously, about our safety when we're speaking to people online, even if we think we know them in some way. Things can go wrong, and this is a really good example of a terrible situation where people need to think a little bit more closely about who they're speaking to.
Yeah, and people were definitely hurt in this situation. That's the thing we need to remember. So this is catfishing. We've heard it put into the vernacular now, but what it is. How do people get catfished?
Generally, it's down to two things. I suppose it's giving too much trust away to people that we don't really know, and too much personal information,
Oversharing.
Yeah, oversharing, and too quickly. As human beings, we want to form relationships, and we need to give away a bit of personal information to do that, but we need to think critically about why someone might contact us out of the blue, and I suppose, if we're going to meet them in real life or connect the dots, we need to sort of think a little bit more about how we're going to do that safely.
I mean, on the outside, it seems impossible that somebody could think that they were dating a soap star who they weren't, actually physically going on dates with.
Yeah.
So why are people falling for it?
I think, we still have vulnerabilities and needs that are being met that by the online world, there are success stories of people finding the love of their lives online, and, I suppose you see those success stories and we sort of floss over things that could be red flags for us. So we need to make sure that we're not doing that. We need to make sure that we're also involving other people, like our family and our friends, in that sort of relationship, asking questions where they're not emotionally involved, and they can sort of, raise those red flags for us if we're not seeing them.
So should we be cautious about online dating as well?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not a bad thing. There's been, as I said before, great success stories, but I think that overarching safety message is kind of missed with the excitement of hooking up and meeting someone new. And when we see situations like this, it really does sort of drive home that message of things that can go wrong, and how badly we need to start thinking about our own safety in that regard.
So what are the big warning signs? Like, if you're only talking to someone online or on the phone and you're trying to meet up with them in person, but it never happens, shouldn't that send you a red flag?
Yeah, definitely. If someone won't meet up in real life, that's definitely a red flag. If they're not going to give their own information over to you and share with you as well, if there is any unusual or unexpected contact in the first place, like if we look at this particular situation, a soap star, contacting someone out of the blue, there was a pre-existing relationship of some degree from a very long time ago, but we need to think critically about why that would happen, and I suppose be guided by our gut when it comes to those sorts of situations.
So how do we stay safe?
Well, look, not sharing too much personal information is one thing. If we're going to get technical, it's a really good idea to do a Google reverse image search on a profile picture. So dragging and dropping that picture into the Google search bar, that'll bring up anywhere else on the internet that particular picture has been posted. So if a scammer is using that profile picture, you'll be able to see that. As I mentioned before, involving other people in your relationship to a degree, so they can give you some ideas on what might be okay and what's not, and listening to your gut in the end. That's the best sort of tool that you can use in your toolbox.
All right.
Yeah.
Yasmin, thanks for your time this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Coming up this morning, next stop, space.